Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for October 10th, 2025. I'm Benji Fisher, sharing my screen and moderating. Also present are Ralph Kohler and Simo Helston. Thank you both for joining. Oh, and Jana Feister. You made it. I'm glad you could come today. Um, you want to unmute yourself for a second and say hi?
Sorry, I lost the screen for a second. I have too many windows open. Hello, I'm Jana Feaster. I am the Vice President of UX and Creative at Sandstorm, and we are a Drupal certified partner, website creator here. I'm located in Chicago in the United States.
Okay. Glad you could join us,
Yes.
especially today where we have a particular plan where a new set of eyes would be invaluable. We are going to look again at issue 3370326, refine labels and descriptions for field types. Let me start off, and I can share this link in the Zoom chat. You can log in with the super secure admin. Here's the login link, almost obscured by one of the Zoom windows.
Have you applied the merge request?
No, this is the current head of Drupal 11.x, the current development head.
1 second, and I start an instance
No,
of
no, no,
mine.
no.
Okay.
I have a plan.
Okay. All right.
So my plan is to position the toolbar the way I like it. Structure, content types, manage fields for any content type. And did I mention that this is an issue that the usability team has been working on for most of this calendar year?
Wow.
So when you add a new field to a content type,
Benji, we're still seeing the refine labels description window.
oh, I must have shared the wrong screen then. Let me start over again. Because I was trying to, I guess I had that open in two different windows. Here we go.
And hi, Joanna.
Hi, good morning, or probably good afternoon to you all.
Okay, so here you see my test site, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And I go to structure, content types, manage fields for any of the content types, and create a new field. The modal pops up. And let me point you to the worst thing going on in the current version of Drupal. When you click on reference, you have three options: content, taxonomy, term, and user. And then there's other. And the distinguishing text between the three types is, in all three cases, an entity field containing an entity reference, which is almost totally useless. So we've gotten beyond that. And give me a second behind the scenes. Help if I ran my commands in the right tab. Okay, so if I reload this page, I've now checked out the current merge request for the issue we were looking at. And now if you click on reference, you get different descriptions. In fact, you get little bulleted lists. And the common pattern we've adopted is that these bulleted lists are for differentiators to help someone decide which of the available options they want to use. So it's already much better, but there are a whole lot of text changes in this issue, and some of them need work. So now if you look at the issue for today's meeting,
I post the link. One
thank
second.
you, Ralph. If you look at the issue for today's meeting, I left a rather long comment on Tuesday. We found someone willing to review the merge request, and it included some technical points and several points regarding the wording. I've already replied to the technical points, and I've taken all of the comments in the on the merge request that refer to wording, and I've identified where they show up in the UI. And each of my numbered lists has the text in 11.x, the current development branch, the text in the current MR, and then the suggestion or the comment from DWW, the reviewer. So there are a lot of them. I plan to step through them. Jaina, not Jana, I'm sorry about that. Jaina, I hope you will feel free to be decisive
Okay.
because a lot of the worst examples in here are from previous attempts by Ralph, Simo, and I. And we just ran out of energy and went with things that weren't all that good.
Okay.
So let's look at file, upload, file. That's the first on the list. File, upload, file. And the original text is for uploading files, can be configured with options, such as allowed file extensions and maximum upload size. And maybe it's not worth my reading it. Let me skip to the DWW's comment. Given we have a separate image field type, why does the help text for this specifically recommend using a generic file to upload image file types? And I think we have an answer to that. And I think that DWW, since he was looking at the code rather than looking at it in context like this, may have missed the point that these bullet points are for differentiators. And what we were thinking at the time is that we wanted to emphasize that file can be used for image files, even though it overlaps and one would normally use image for an image file. So should we keep that or remove it? And Ralph and Simo, please don't be shy, even though I've asked Jaina to be
Yeah.
decisive.
Yeah. And my colleague Joanna joined the call too. I don't know if you heard that, Benji.
Oh, I did miss that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Joanna, hi.
Hi.
Um, I personally, so if I'm thinking about the use case that this is a downloadable file where it's something I have uploaded to the site that I want to share with other people, it could be an image. It could be a JPEG, like an infographic or something like that, where it's not an image that's for display to like give more of a brand or tell a story or whatever from a brand perspective. So I'm not too concerned with this being here of the JPEGs. I'm just wondering if it's the word image being used twice. I don't know if that word image under file, if we have another word for that. Does
Does file have alt text available if you upload an image as a file?
No, I don't think
No.
it does.
So are you thinking that would help too, Joanna?
Well, I think if I'm understanding correctly, which I may not be, if we would want to kind of guide people to be putting images where they're going to be the most accessible and have that alt text. Um, but I hear your point, Jane, like it could be more decorative images that don't need the alt text or something like that too.
Or
Like
Yeah.
their file.
how about this? We could say image for download here
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
and image for display down here.
Yeah.
Might
Because I see
help.
those being different because this is more those downloadable things you want to share with your users.
Mhm.
And you brought up the point of images that are meant to be downloaded, and
Mm-hmm.
that's certainly a valid use case, comes up all the time. Ralph?
Yeah.
But if you take a look at the first bullet point, but strictly speaking, we are already telling that basically
Uh,
file is for downloadable files, or
uh,
maybe instead of downloadable file, it's difficult. But yeah, basically file that is for download and the other is for display user facing.
But there's the cognitive load of going from downloadable files up here to image over
Yeah,
here.
there's a disconnect.
So even though less is more, I think this is a case where a few more words could help things.
Agreed.
And if you want a use case for files that are not downloadable or not for display, I think one would be like another one would be we don't want some files to be rendered or processed by the PHP image processors, such like maybe some huge files, maybe some radiology images or something like that that are used for like medical devices, so they can be very large,
mm-hmm.
and we don't want to make thumbnails out of them with PHP on the server because in some cases it can lead to memory overload.
Oh, and one other thing, PNG. We already have that. Good. No, not PNG. What's
Do you mean
what?
WebP?
No, I'm thinking what's the SVG?
Oh,
Yeah,
SVG has
SVG.
security concerns if you're going to display it. I think I want to stay away from that
yeah.
because
Yeah,
even if it's downloadable, it has security implications. So I don't want to suggest that it's safer to download it than to display it. Because even if it's downloadable, it's probably in the public file system, which means you can access it directly. So never mind. Should we move on to the next point?
yeah,
Sure.
but which changes should be done just to make notes?
Um, Instead of image for file, say downloadable image,
Downloadable, okay.
and where it's on the examples line, say displayed images, and then maybe put the types in parentheses as well.
Display
That'll be good
image. Okay.
consistency.
Date and time. So I think it's just I didn't mean to click there. Um, let's see, can I select? I think it's just this text, a date and or time value. And the original text was field to store date and time values. We removed the field to store because it's so redundant.
Mhm.
And looking at it again, I think I did want to click through. And now I'm confused. Where is it? The field types use different formats to stay. Oh, here we go. This is something else that we have added in the course of this issue. Summary text that applies to all of the options on the page. So the bullet points are for differentiators. This is for things that are common to all of them, which didn't exist before this issue. So that's why
Ah,
It looks like it's the second sentence they might be having problems with.
yes.
Yeah.
The second sentence here is true of all fields, not just date time. Do we want this here? So it's this sentence, all field types can be displayed in various ways. Ralph or Simo, do you remember why we put that in? Jen or Joanna, do you have opinions on whether it helps or not?
I think it was because sometimes timestamp might be preferable, but to know that it's not, you can use it with different displays as well. Display like different display widgets.
That could well be what we were thinking and sounds reasonable to me.
It definitely errs on the side of like not making assumptions about what someone knows when clicking on this, which I think is good. Like it's a good reinforcer.
Right. Reinforcing the fact that the display option is decoupled from what is stored in the database.
Mhm.
And whatever format you use to store in the database is okay. So you like to go with the current text?
I'm wondering if that would be conflicted by maybe some contrib modules. So we have at least year only. I think if it's a separate field type, it can year only be displayed as something else than just the year. So I'm wondering if that will cause confusion with contrib modules. So if it will kind of not be default option like a right away available, so it might be promising too much. That's not really our problem, I guess, but just thought
I mean,
about
we
it.
could say all core field types and most contrib field types, but that runs against less is more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ralph?
and a brief addition, re-looking at Derek's comment in context. If he just looked at the code, he probably thought it referred to basically the field type itself and not about that help text. And so he had a different context looking at it, and therefore he asked.
Possibly. Jane, were you going to say something?
No, I think it's fine, giving the additional context. But I do agree, I don't want to add more to it because I think it's just going to open a can of worms, right? Just to keep adding more and more. I think this high level is fine.
So no
Cool.
changes for point 2.
And a quick consensus.
Yeah.
Formatted text, long text with summary.
That comment.
Formatted text, long text with summary. I thought we're trying to deprecate this field type, not recommended for anything. I'm not sure that's a serious suggestion in the first place. Um, he makes a couple of comments like this, things that are planned to be changed in Drupal core. And I think that the issue we're working on deals with core as it is now and should not try to anticipate those changes.
I agree. We
Mhm.
also, this is something that happened during this issue that we were thinking about how to describe float, but then that was removed from the user interface. So, but this is still in the user interface. So if it gets removed, it gets removed. But I think we should just do it now while it's in there.
Right. Jaina?
Agreed. Just remove it now.
I'm sorry, just
Um, it seems like we were leaning towards either ignoring it or just removing it. Is that correct? I may have lost where we were. I'm sorry.
I, I'm suggesting that we leave it as is
As is.
and not try to anticipate other changes that are going on in Drupal core.
Okay. Yeah, that I agree with that so much. Because if you anticipate it, it's not gonna, it doesn't help anybody.
Okay, and this is the first one where I think he has a very valid point. Telephone number, I've already enabled the telephone module in my site. And I guess I got these comments out of order. Same comment as with email about what an output link option is.
Mm.
So telephone number, store a telephone number with an output link option. And here I completely agree with DWW, and we should come up with something clearer. What were we thinking about output link option?
Wasn't there something
Basically,
on the thing?
I
Go
think
ahead.
another wording would be for a front end, it would be with an option to render as clickable or something like that.
Mm.
Well, let's actually click through and create a field and see what the options we're given are. You can make it required, you can make it translatable, you can set a default value. And if you go on to the next screen,
Oh, I guess this was in context of manage display.
so ah, I'm not used to having this be a drop-down list. Come on. This is not working for me, partially because the Zoom window is blocking me. Here we go. Right. So, and this comes back to the previous question. If it's a question about managed display, why are we even mentioning it for this particular field type? Let's look at what the previous text was. Just this field stores a telephone number. Oh, and this time DWW suggested an alternative. Store a telephone number with an option to output as a link.
Mm.
And that's not really an option for defining the field. That's really a display option. So I still don't know why we put that in there.
Yeah, so it's not something that's extra. Like with a link field, it's an option to add that there's settings for link text and link, or this kind of these options that are on the field. But a
Either on the
telephone
field or on
number
the field
doesn't have
display.
on the field. So you can either store only the URL or URL and link text for the link. But I don't know if there is something like that in the telephone number. I would expect not.
So is the issue that you have the option of having it just be a telephone number or a telephone number that is a link that you can then click on and use? Is that the problem?
I don't see that option. I think what is stored in the database is a telephone number.
Okay.
And then
And
does it sound like then to add that link in, you would have to go to the display, not just the fields?
yes, when you go to
Okay.
manage display, then you have the option to display
You're
it
right.
as a link, a mail to a colon link, I guess, or as plain text.
I
Yeah.
see. So it's I see why we're saying it's like slightly unrelated to the issues, other issues we're dealing with.
It's not something you do at the same phase, like at the phase where you create the field.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other place where we were talking about that, like mentioned, that it can have link text, then there it is something that is defined when
Mm-hmm.
creating the field.
So here I think the simplest thing is to go back to its previous comment. This is true of all fields. Why are you emphasizing it here? Let's just go with less is more
Hmm.
and strike that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
And should we do the same for email?
Probably let's wait until we get there.
But email?
We are halfway through the meeting, by the
Oh,
way.
email is also okay. Yeah, yeah.
Shall we go on to the next?
Yeah.
Yep.
Selection list text. And let me just save that. Fields, content types. Get back to the manage fields page. And I'm sorry, what did I say? Selection list text. And Derek's comment was, I know 0.9 is technically a text string, but this seems confusing. Where's the 0.9?
Right there.
In the example.
Yeah.
Yes. And we actually spent quite some time coming up with these examples. It was not easy to come up with examples
Mhm.
of why you would want to store a text string rather than an integer. Um, oh, well, 0.9 certainly isn't an integer. Um, if you want to use that as your value in the database, then you have to use text, not integer. Makes sense to me. Does it make sense to other people?
Once you said it, yes. But I was like, what it, yeah, once you kind of talked through it, is it, I know we have like the less is more, but is it worth it to maybe denote that difference? It's clear once you look down at the integer, right? But
So this is also example that you can use this to name values, like rating, very good, good, medium, that kind of things. You can use a text to name them, have a value that is can be used as a number, and then you don't need to try to make any combo fields. So that's I think it's a good example, so that if somebody gets this far, they can see that it's possible.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Because
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people try to add a number and then try to add a text field or something like that, so that to make them go together. As a like if you are new to Drupal.
Just one brief addition, because I was just looking and comparing again the field list, the select list text and the select list integer, and I guess another detail which is confusing on text. Because if you take a look at the numeric and the integer one, then you have basically a field called name and a field called value. Then it basically makes sense, the pattern we use on integer with name and value. But that pattern isn't necessary and rather confusing on the text, because there you have just a text field. And therefore, with parentheses, working with parentheses, that is the confusing bit, looking at it again.
right.
Actually, hold that thought until later.
Yep.
That's one of the later points. And also, I want to mention this is related to something that Simo mentioned briefly a little while ago. There used to be a third option
Yep.
on this page, which is float. And in a very odd decision, the float field is still available, but it is not shown in the user interface. So, so you no longer have the option in the user interface to use float, which would be more natural for 0.9, 0.5, and 0.3.
Yeah, but still in the context of the select list text, having that parentheses pattern is confusing. So in this context, I think it's relevant as well.
Hold that thought. We will discuss
Still,
that.
okay.
It's one of the points comes up later.
It's again, okay.
So Joanna, you're willing to add some clarification text if we
Yeah,
can come up with something. Go ahead.
maybe it's we're so like on text, the first bullet is values are text strings, and then for integer, its values are whole numbers. So maybe text that first bullet becomes values are text strings or including non-whole numbers or something like that. That matches, so it kind of matches the bullet below and clarifies the difference.
Or what if we added quotes around 0.9 and 0.5 and 0.3, emphasizing that it's a string 0.9 rather than the number 0.9.
Hmm.
Am I thinking like a PHP developer?
Yes.
I think so. But that's valuable here, and probably more so, like that context of the quotes and what those denote here, I think could be valuable. If that seems clear to other developers.
And it only adds a few characters to the line. It's
Mm.
Would you change the parentheses then down an integer where it says -1?
Change the parentheses in what way?
Well, it sounded like you were talking about adding quote marks around the 0.9 and
Yes.
0.5. Would we add quotes around the -1 or 0 in integer?
No, because we'd be adding the quotes to indicate that this is not a number, but a
Got it.
string representing a number. This
Okay.
is actually a number.
Okay.
Ralph?
But maybe move from the first bullet point on text that machine names down and replace values with machine names.
So you want to make this line the second line?
No, I would remove the machine names in parentheses from the
Mm.
first bullet, so that you just have values or text strings. And in the example, use name in parentheses machine name instead of
Mm.
value. That way it becomes explicit, because at the moment, I'm sorry that I look again at in the context of integer as well, but here you have name and value, and down here you have two things. You can enter name and value, but up here it's machine name. It's more or less representational, or a label or info, and therefore, and up here with machine names, you have machine names and values, and therefore it becomes the whole text select list becomes confusing that way.
Um, I think we may have put that in because that's how it's identified in the UI. Um, but but maybe just for consistency, we should strike that as you suggest. So you wanted to remove, not move, machine
No,
names.
strictly speaking, I would remove it in that bullet point, but add it to the example or replace value there.
Mhm.
That way the example becomes correctly labeled, because you have the name you are able to enter, and you have the machine name that is automatically generated based on the name.
I'm leaning towards keeping this screen consistently using the term value rather than introducing machine name. Um, Jana, Joanna, do you want to be a decider here?
I think it's a little bit out of my depth as um yeah, I think I'm a little out of my depth on this one, I'll be honest. In determining something like that, like how the effect that it would have on the user. Jaina, thoughts?
I can kind of see it both ways with what's been said of moving machine names, removing it from the first bullet and adding it to the third. But that's again, I don't use this every day, so that's just me thinking from a consistency point of view, not from how it's going to help someone use this content or decide what they want to do. So I'm going to have, I think I'm going to lean on you all more for this one.
Go ahead, Ralph.
To just briefly move one step further for text, just to show the field settings, you need to add a name, a label first.
I think this week I refactored one function where it was using the values of select list. And I think the way I get them, I read them is function get value, not get machine name.
That's right. Machine name shows up here in the user
Yeah.
interface, and it is based by the default value is the lowercase version of what you've entered. You actually have to click the edit button to specify actually, I have to click the edit link. I think this is a bug, to override the default.
But just,
Okay.
is the machine name necessary at all then?
Oh,
Because
and
the thing it's important here is simply basically the name for someone entering.
Yeah. Actually, now I remember why I think we have that machine name there in the description is that it uses the function to validate if the value is allowed.
Ah.
So that so we can't even remember it ourselves.
no,
Because
I'm pretty confident it's because it shows up in the user interface here.
Mm-hmm.
But as you may have noticed, once I succeeded in editing it, the label becomes value.
Oh.
So really, the change should happen on this screen. And I think we should use value consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Now I remember.
I do not love this user interface, but we are limiting ourselves to the micro text here.
Yeah.
Um, so again,
Okay.
I'm pretty strongly in favor of, God, selection lists are hard, of just striking machine names. Less is
Yeah.
more.
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
agree. After seeing that flow, I agree with that.
Okay, great. Ralph, Simo, you can live with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Already made a note.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Integers
Okay.
next.
Selection list integer. Now is the time to talk about name value. And here I have what I think is a really good solution. Again, this summary text is something that didn't exist before we started working on this issue. Let's add here a little additional text. And let me type into the Zoom chat what I have in mind is that the examples use the format name name paren value, close paren colon. The name is displayed to the user, comma, and actually not the name, just name. Name is displayed to the user, comma, and value is stored in the database, period. Now you can read it in the Zoom chat. Add that here is my suggestion. And then we can strike name value from each of these examples.
Could you scroll up again to the help text, please? And where would you place this snippet?
Either on the same line or possibly a second line or a second
But
paragraph.
after can be edited later, period. After that. It's basically appended at the end of the help text that is currently there.
Yes.
Okay. The examples. Use the format name.
Come on, Firefox developer tools, be nice to me. What are you doing, Firefox developer tools? So that's what it would look like if we make a second paragraph. We could also make it all one paragraph.
Mhm.
A naive question. Would it make sense to use a period instead of a colon and make the name value emphasized with in italic?
I don't feel strongly either way.
Me neither. Just a question. Not a native speaker, so
I think the colon works better because it relates them to each other. Like it's
okay.
one sentence, one thought. And I do personally like it not being its own paragraph, just so it stands out and it helps with scannability.
I do too. Yeah. I like
I'm
this.
sorry. You like it as is,
I like
or
it what you're showing me here on the screen where it's its own paragraph, if you
okay,
will.
I agree.
okay.
Mhm.
Um, the examples, is that explicit enough? Should we say the examples in the bulleted lists, the examples on this page? I know we should not say the examples below because Aaron keeps reminding us we should not use positional text.
Mm.
Would it make sense the examples for the field types?
To
Or do
add
we
to
go
that,
with less is more and just say the examples? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to flip it the field type examples if we wanted to have a little descriptor.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay, so the field type examples.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I had so much trouble editing this before that I'm not going to put it in now.
For sure.
Ralph, can you get that in your notes?
I've already edited it. No worries, Benji.
Cool. Any more on this one?
Nope.
No.
On to the next. Reference content. Oops, wrong cursor key. Oh no. It's going to be hard to find my place.
There we go.
And this is what I showed you at the start, where it is so much better than it used to be. He suggests shortening it to link content, one bullet point, or at least shortening the first line to just link content. And his argument is these node types may or may not exist on any given site. Is this a good idea?
Mhm. I
Here's the
think
point.
because it says such as though, like it's not asserting that it will be on this, like on any given site, but it helps materialize the type of link content that would be there. Um,
Go ahead, Ralph.
Strictly speaking, looking at it again, basically in the first bullet point, we say link content and then we bring an example. And then in the second bullet point, again, there are more examples. And yeah, basic page and article is not necessarily there. And it takes the perspective of someone familiar with Drupal and someone familiar with the default installation profile. And therefore, I'm rather with Derek there and just use link content and then the examples.
So you're agreeing with the suggestion that we should go with less is more and
Yep.
just say link content.
Because it's a redundant, both bullet points provide examples.
Yeah, I totally missed the bottom bullet point when I first looked at it, but yeah, you're right. It is a redundancy. And it's inconsistent with the other two on the bottom.
Okay, so we go with DWW suggestion.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh, media.
Yeah. We are limiting ourselves to the text, but we really want to fight about making this a top level item. Create media type with the ability to upload or link assets. And media type is clearly wrong.
Yep.
And that's on us. And here, DWW suggests an alternative. Reference a media item, either a new upload or link existing. And we should also consider the existing text. Of course, always strike field to reference, since that's redundant, but allows uploading and selecting from uploaded media. So both the 11.x text and DWW's text emphasize that you have the option of adding a new one or using one that's already uploaded. I think media item is something we try to avoid in the UI. Just call it media, like in the current version. And I kind of prefer the original text, except that I would switch the order. And I would say selecting from existing media or uploaded media or already uploaded media or uploading a new one.
Could we just do it where it says maybe something like upload a new media file or select one from the media library?
Yeah, is media library something we use in the user interface?
Hmm.
We do.
Where?
Under content and media.
Content, media.
Primary. Yep.
Or we could say like
Oh.
existing media.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, I was just saying, or we could say existing media if we didn't want to use media library.
If you go to grid.
Type.
Second, no, if you scroll up. Secondary.
There you go.
I thought it was there, that is media library.
Select all media.
Okay,
Oh
there's
God, I
no.
remember how much work we put into these cards.
Okay.
Yeah, that I wonder if it's just like upload a new one or select
From
an
existing.
existing one, because it just makes it a little more actionable. And
Can you type an explicit suggestion into the Zoom chat?
absolutely.
And meanwhile, Ralph, go ahead because we're really short on time.
Just one brief note on on the original example. I basically would avoid the term or the verb reference, because then a user might ask, hey, I have reference, and then I have under media also reference, and it is confusing. Basically, technically speaking, it is correct, but still, I would avoid it. And yeah, like what Joanna said, something like, yeah, just go with upload a new media file or select an existing media file, or maybe call it item, or not sure. But in that direction is probably a good call.
How about
Just-
shortening it a little and saying an existing one?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
So something like that, upload a new media. I don't know about the word file because on the UI, they don't really have file. They just say media over and over again.
Yeah.
Or do they have media file?
Yeah, we were just looking at it, and you're right. It says media all over the place.
Wait,
Never media file.
yeah,
But yeah, I think media is it like a what do you call it? A bundle? Is it a bundle?
a bundle.
So it's
Right.
so it, so it's a
Um,
kind of a name of that.
we're at time. I suggest we go with what Jaina typed.
Right.
And
Existing.
one last technical point. Remember, one of the media options is remote video. So there are options other than files for
Yeah.
media.
Okay.
And I
Cool.
like what Rolf wrote where he removed the A. That's better. Upload new media or select existing one. I
Mhm.
like that.
Okay, let's go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Th- Thank you so much. If you have interest in time, please look through some of these and comment on the meeting issue. We are more than halfway through the list.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I won't be able to come to next week's meeting. Um, but if you could possibly return to this and finish the list, we're actually quite close to the end. Um, or do it asynchronously before then. Thank you so much for joining the meeting. I hope to join again soon, but not next week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I'll update the merge request later tonight.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye. Nice weekend.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.